Welcome in. My name is Anthony Triplett, your host. You guys can call me Trip. We have my lovely, beautiful producer, Becca Hayden, but she's keeping things copacetic and making sure I don't mess up as we keep this thing going, you guys. So, I just wanted to touch base with you guys on a few topics tonight because I think that these topics are worth getting into. We're taking a deeper dive. We're taking a reflection. Worth bringing up the facts, not just rhetoric. So I'm going to dive into some things tonight while we're calling some of these people out and some of these topics out. Before we do that, please subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share this out with your friends. Please, I'm really trying to build this thing up. I want you guys to be a part of this as well so I can use your help as we do this. All right, I could really use your help. So again, please share this out with your friends. Hit the little heart, whatever you guys got to do while we're doing this thing to get some engagement going in here. But this is going to be a pretty good deep dive in life for you guys. So let's jump into it. In honor of one of my favorite YouTube hosts, he doesn't do his thing on Tuesdays, Mr. Baron Coleman himself. He does a lot of opening statements and things like that. But I'm going to do something kind of similar, but in my own way. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get into what I mean when it comes to accountability. And this is going to be a true story, by the way. This is 100% true and genuine story based on my life in the past couple of days. Because I've kind of been through a social public little thing, a little kerfuffle here, a public kerfuffle, we would say, when it comes to the publicity about myself and our current sheriff in Thurston County. Right. And I know there's a lot of things that people say based on Facebook and comment sections and things like that. And I really did go back to the Gospels and go back and take in a lot of what was said, because it's not just about me. And if I'm going to be pressing for accountability on other people, other agencies, on other policies, etc., I have to look within myself, especially as a man, and what would Jesus actually think about what it is I'm trying to do? Because I'm not playing around when it comes to this. And when, you know, most Christians out there, they want to preach something to you or something like that, but then they don't stand on their own true convictions and whatnot. So I wanted to make that be a difference maker and when I'm talking about accountability, because it does start with me. And if you guys did follow along with me on the Facebook page, then you guys would have seen that I made a public apology and post based on the situation and whatnot. But either way, I wanted to talk to you guys because I did spend a lot of time reflecting on that. And honestly, there was a lot that came out of it, but it only stemmed from me going back to the Bible, going back to the gospel to understand what was really going on. Bigger than myself, bigger than the ego, because a lot of people did start pointing out, and it was time for me to actually look into it. They actually pointed out, they said that how are you going to reference the gospel while you're speaking out of frustration afterwards in the comments? That's what somebody said, and it really did hit. It really did hit. Okay, you're going to start off with the gospels and stuff like that. That criticism was completely fair. It was completely fair, because at the end of the day, if I'm going to tell people to be accountable, show grace, seek truth, correct yourself, stop blindly following narratives. If I'm going to say those things to people, then the responsibility has to apply to me as well. That's what's most important. I can acknowledge that, especially as a man. The accountability has to start with me before I start telling everybody else what they should or should not be doing. Okay, it's not just everybody else. Period. It's not just everybody else. Growth, accountability, it cannot only apply to the other people. It can't only apply to another nation, the politics. It can't only apply to those that you're trying to connect with. You can't exempt yourself. I can't exempt myself either. And I acknowledge that. I think it's very important to take yourself out of the picture and acknowledge these are people in your community. And based on how you're behaving, whether it's online or in real life, these people are interacting with you in this space, and this is how you're presenting yourself. So take a step back. Listen to what it is they're saying and how you're coming off, and have a conversation versus just attacking and going back and forth in the comments. And we've all been there, especially if you're in the publicity kind of sector. The comment sections can be brutal. And we're all learning this as we're gaining, whether it's a following or whatever the case is, we're learning this. But the point remains the same. You have to take yourself out of it and understand what is truly going on. What is truly happening when the people are telling you how they feel. Reflect on that, because it does help. You can become more humble. You can show some humility in life, and at the end of the day, you're going to grow. And it stops it stops what's known as hypocrisy, okay? Because Jesus did call out the hypocrites, but at the same time, he asked us to check within ourselves first. So I'm the first one to admit to you guys, if you're watching this live, if you guys catch it later, I'm the first one to admit my own flaws and ask for your acceptance, your apology. I'm apologizing to you and asking for forgiveness, because at the end of the day, I'm no better than any other man and or woman on this planet. At the end of the day, I am no better. I put my pants on the same way you guys do, one leg at a time. Nothing's going to change that. So at the end of the day, I have to acknowledge my own flaws and start doing better. While I tell others what they should be doing to be better, I have to recognize that I'm just as flawed like everybody else. And that is the point. Social media can also make people forget that sometimes and make it seem like everything online is real. That's why I've often asked, well, have you ever met me before in real life before making said assumption? Because if you haven't, I'm guaranteed that your mind would be changed some if you had actually met me and participated in at least just one event. You would see something different than versus what you thought you saw online. That's the truth. That's the truth. And the offer remains open to the community that sees this and or wants to participate in the future. The offer remains open. So I just wanted to start that off with some accountability, a check yourself kind of moment. Because I can't talk on these topics, especially to the men who I want this message to get to. Specifically, I want the men of God who call themselves men of God. I want them to hear this message specifically because I believe that this could be how we start to change the culture. And it's going to take strong men to do so. And not dismissing the strong women that are out there, but just knowing where a man's place is. Okay, because I believe that everything that we're going through, we can find some answers and guidance if we go back to the book. That's what I believe, and I'm going to share how I come to these conclusions by going to the book, especially as a man. Especially as a man. So if you guys are just joining, my name is Trip, my name Anthony Triplet, you guys see right here. I need you guys to participate. Say hello in the comment section. Share this out with your friends that are on the YouTube space or just want to see some real truth, because we're going to talk about some real things. And I already started with accountability and taking that accountability for my own actions in the past, and once again asking for your acceptance, your grace, and I'm asking for overall to be forgiven so I can continue to move forward. At the end of the day, I'm no better than any other person out there. Because only truth will set people free, and only truth will yield fruit. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome into the live. Let's continue this thing. If you're just tuning in, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. I need your help. We're just building this channel up, and I believe that we can do it. So with that being said, first things first, I want to talk to the men out there, because the men are who I believe can actually fix this issue, especially this culture issue that we have going on right now. And I think that this yields back and goes back to the book and early portions of the book when it comes to men cultivating their own gardens. Okay, now what does that mean? What does that mean? Men cultivating their garden? Because it can be difficult, I'm sure. I'm sure it can be real difficult when men are supposed to be cultivating their garden. What does that even mean? If you're out there in the comments section, I want to know, what do you think that means? Because I think we can go directly to in the book and get the guidance that we need. We start with Proverbs 24:27 and 1 Timothy 5:8. You guys can find some of these, and we're going to dig deeper when it comes to men cultivating their own gardens. Instead of fully just committing themselves to another man's garden or another man's empire, another man's journey, another man's job, business, another man's organization. We're going to talk about how we relate to each other and how we can help each other. But if all of your efforts and time are putting into somebody else's garden, your own garden's going to get taken over with weeds. Now marinate on that for just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Because if a man is spending all of his time tending to somebody else's garden, your own garden's going to start producing weeds. So many men today are spending all of their time and energy building somebody else's mission. That's the truth. I've been there too. I fall short sometimes too. I'm the first to admit it. We fall short because we feel like tending to the other person's garden is going to bear our fruit, but that's not the truth. It's not true. It's not. So many men today building somebody else's platform, working towards somebody else's dream, helping somebody else push their brand while neglecting their own faith, their own discipline, their own health, in many cases, their own health. So many men will risk their own health to help build somebody else's empire and journey. Just think about that for a second, because we believe that we're going to get some kind of monetary compensation in the end. That's kind of the mindset that we've built, right? If I work my butt off right now, I will get that monetary compensation in the back end. But time after time after time, we know that's not how it works. We know that. Meanwhile, when we see the Christian men and women out there following guidance by Jesus Christ, they're living a very, very happy and decent life, if you ask me. If you ask me, the authentic ones specifically. Because they're not focused on somebody else's garden 100%. Now, I'm not saying that you can't put in your time where you need to get what you need. But if you spent the rest of that time, instead of tending to somebody else's garden, and started really, really tending to yours, you're going to yield better fruit. And you can become sustainable on your own. That's the whole point. That is the entire point. So if you're just getting this message, I'm going to break it down for you guys again. So many men, myself included, have been through this path, and you're going to go through it time and time again until it clicks and you realize what it is you're doing. But men have to stick to cultivating their garden instead of fully committing yourself to somebody else's. Because while you commit yourself to somebody else's garden, your garden's going to raise weeds. Men build companies. We build online identities. We build careers. We build movements. Human beings, people build this stuff. But we have to have that internal balance, and we have to actually understand what it is that we're doing and how much time, energy, and effort we are putting into somebody else's garden. And this is where this breaks down, ladies and gentlemen, because if you do believe like Charlie Kirk believed, and he said time and time again, I stick to this as best as I can, and I'm often reminded when I start slipping. But the reality is, it is God, family, and then country. Okay, there is God, family, and then country. There's a reason it has to be in that order. There's a reason for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you guys to understand, and I'm mainly talking to the Christians here for just a second, the authentic Christians here for just a moment, because many people, all right, and this includes myself, but many people will accidentally prioritize everything except their relationship with God, their relationship with Christ, their own family, their own garden, because they are too convinced that they have to focus on country or helping somebody else's garden. That's a fact. And we see it all the time. Go ahead and marinate on that for a second, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not saying anything that you don't need to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear before I tell you what you want to hear. So many times we sit here all this hours researching politics, scrolling, doom scrolling at that. Reflecting honestly, are we? Are we truly reflecting honestly? Because I can tell you, up until I had a significant emotional event, I can tell you firsthand, I do not believe that we were truly looking at ourselves and reflecting like we think we are. And a good person will tell you what you need to hear before they tell you what you want to hear. Is it paused? No? Oh, it must have stopped. Oh, it's recording or something like that. I must have hit something. The recording's going to be all messed up. Oh, well. Oh, well. At least we got the live rolling. Still good. So, anyways, if you guys are out there just rolling in, tuning in, we're live. It's important. This is important because I said to you before, it is God, family, and then country. That order, that matters, okay? The order actually matters. I don't want you guys thinking that it's not something that doesn't matter. It actually does matter. All right, God first, family second, country third. There are no other options. All right, strong nations come from the strong people. Strong people come from discipline. Discipline starts internally. You have to reflect. You have to take that internal discipline versus what other rhetoric is out there and do better. That's the reality. If you want to do better, if you really want to do better, then you have to take a self-look, self-image, self-reflection, and start doing. That's the only way. That's truly the only way. But every single time that you're tending to somebody else's garden and you start neglecting your own garden, you're leaving your own woman there, if you have one, to fix it all. To handle it while you're working on somebody else's. And we know biblically that that's not how it works. That's not even how it's designed. What the heck happened? That's not even how it's designed. Oh, there we are. Yeah, okay, we back. It was just my thing. I hit the button. That's not how it's designed. It's not designed for us to just be separate, tending to other people's doom or stuff and becoming doom and gloom. We're designed to work together as a union. And many men find themselves disrupting their own union while they're tending to somebody else's garden. Once you recognize that, things become a lot easier. So, as we talk about accountability, I want to take a moment here and go back to what we talked about the other day when I was live on here showing you the Show Faith by Works files, the FARA files. All right, I'm going to call these the FARA files. And I did some digging. It doesn't look good. It does not look good. Because at the end of the day, we have an actual influence of another nation coming here deliberately to try and re-educate Christian pastors and churches in the United States of America to further their mission. And I don't think that that sits right with a lot of people. And how committed they are to doing so is all public. How committed they are to doing so is all public. All you guys have to do is literally look up the DOJ FARA review. They have a whole overview that you guys can look up. As a matter of fact, I will share my screen and show you guys exactly what it is I'm talking about. Because if you look up the DOJ FARA overview, you're going to be able to see these things, and it's going to take you exactly down the rabbit hole that you want to see. So let's take a look. Look at that. The Department of Justice. Look at that beautiful page right there, huh? FARA, Foreign Agents Registration Act, System Notification, blah, 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 blah. Contact there. You can find your contact and discuss with them who you need to discuss these things with. So this is where you start your journey on who you want to start reaching out to and discussing and start getting the information that you need. Okay? Because this is public. Look at that, public office. They gave you, this is all public information. And this is the stuff that you guys have to start looking into if you want real answers. Okay? It starts there. It starts with looking up where the documents are. You hear these people talk about, oh, well, they register through FARA and things like that. Well, what does that actually mean? What does that actually mean? And those are the things that I want you guys to actually start looking into, because I think it's very important for you to know how to do this. Okay, so what I did, of course, I downloaded the files already. Right, I went ahead, it's 86 pages, the document's 86 pages. I downloaded the files and I went through all 86 pages and I started seeing some wild stuff. All right, but before I could even get to the files and stuff like that, you guys have to know how to find this stuff yourselves. Right, so of course I don't care what search engine you're using, because these are public files, you're going to be able to bring this stuff up as long as you type in the correct things like DOJ FARA overview, FARA filing search. And if you have the correct filing number, you're going to be able to see exactly what it is that these people are doing. Okay. You're going to be able to see because they give you a registration number. All you have to do is type in the registration number and it'll give you that filing. Those are very important things for you guys to understand. All right, it's not rocket science or nothing like that. This is real stuff. Okay, you can launch your own e-file. It'll tell you exactly who belongs to what. It's really, really good information for you guys to have and actually go through. Okay, so I'm going to bring up the documents because I think you guys want to see them. I mean, if you guys want to see the documents, that is, I did download them, and I'm going to bring them up. I want to bring them up here for you guys to see because this is a real life thing that's happening. And I think that if you guys understand the nature of what's happening, you'll be able to understand why people are getting so pressed on this thing. Right, because this didn't come out of nowhere. This isn't like something that came out of nowhere. This is real life stuff. So if you guys didn't know already, Show Faith by Works LLC, okay? Their registration number is 7653. Now, if you go to that page I showed you earlier, you guys can type that into the registration page and find their actual documents and download them the same way I did. But to show you guys here live, here we are. I am on here. How do I reduce that so you guys can see the full thing? There we go. Boom. There is the full everything you need to see in reference to all 86 pages. And we're going to go through it, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Ooh, no, that's too little. No, let's bring that back up. 150. What did I do? Oops. Let's go 200. What did I do? 175. Is that possible? I think so. Boom, there we go. Okay, 175. There we go. Okay, look at that, ladies and gentlemen. We got the documents up there. You guys can see it yourself. You guys can see it yourself. I'm not making this up. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's dive into the FARA files, huh? Welcome to Exhibit A, Registration Statement pursuant to the Foreign Agents Registration Act of 1938 as amended. And what we're going to do, we're going to dive through these files and what these things mean for you guys to see, so you don't think that I'm just making this up to try to scare people. I know there's been people out there trying to say, you're just trying to scare people and what's going on. No. Stop it. Stop it right now. I ain't trying to scare anybody. I just want to show you the truth, because the truth will and shall set you free. And if you don't believe that, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, because this is real live stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to Show Faith by Works LLC, their registration. Okay. So once you download their files, what the heck happened? I thought it was good. There. Once you download the files, this is what you're going to get: a PDF version of all 86 pages. And it's going to show you their address, where their primary registrant address is here, so you guys can see and reach out to them, maybe send them a letter. You want to send them a letter or something like that, you can. I don't know why. Why do I keep clicking on that? Oops, what am I doing? I need to learn how to use this thing. I don't even know what I'm doing. Okay, check it out. I'm just trying to highlight stuff and I'm messing. I'm learning. So check it out. You get their registration information. This is what you get. Show Faith by Works. And of course, who is behind all of this madness? The Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Dun, dun, dun. That's what it says right here on the paper. Don't look at me. Don't look at me with that. I know, that's what it says. Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. There is their Israel address in Jerusalem. You guys can look into if you guys wanted to send them a letter as well. But this is their registration number. All right. So what's important about these files specifically is the amount of effort that they're putting into trying to infiltrate American churches. So you have a foreign interest, the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You have them using an American company, Show Faith by Works LLC. This is what's happening, okay? Another nation is using an American company to push their agenda. That's what's happening. That is what's happening here. Okay? That is what's happening right here with these files. So you're probably asking, when the heck did this happen? Because these are probably old. Well, ladies and gentlemen, no. These files were registered on September the 27th, 2025. Okay? That's when these files came to light. That's when they were officially registered, 3:29 a.m. You can see that on the very top of the registration form, and it follows all of the forms alike. All right, this has not been taken. Again, you can find this file exhibit at FARA.gov, Exhibit A, and all you're going to need to do is type in that registration number right there, and you guys will be able, yeah, right there, you guys will be able to find this specific document. All right, so we're going to travel down the document some. All right, foreign interest, blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. Chad J. Schnitger. That's the guy here. He's one of the executioners in charge of this thing here, right? Chad Schnitger. We should look into that guy and see who he is. That's what we should do. Okay, so here we go. Check the appropriate box. There is no formal written contract between the registrant and the foreman principal. All right. Now, right here, section number 8, where it says, describe fully the nature and method of performance of the above indicated agreement and understanding. This should concern every single person in the United States, regardless of if you are religious or not. Okay, because at the end of the day, it is indeed a foreign, okay, a foreign company, or excuse me, a foreign nation. All right, you guys gotta understand this. This is a foreign nation working specifically to push their mission, and they're using an American shell company to do so. That is real. And no, I didn't mean to do that, that little pun there. Okay. So the date of the contract agreement with the foreign principal started on September the 18th, 2025. September the 18th, 2025. Okay. So this would be, what is that? 7 days after Charlie Kirk. So the reason I bring that up and say that this is concerning is because we saw in real life time Charlie Kirk being taken from us. And one of the last things that he said before he was taken from us was about the relationship when it comes to our greatest ally and stereotypes, etc. And because of that, it raises questions when you see our greatest ally using an American company to fulfill their rhetoric. It's really concerning, and it should concern a lot of people, whether it's that country or not. Any country doing so should be concerning. And the fact that we just allow it to happen is wild to me. I don't see how they're not looking at this as a complete national security issue, but it's just completely wild to me. And I think it's because it's a specific nation that nobody wants to question it. But the people are starting to question it. The people are starting to notice, and the people do want answers. And it shouldn't be anti-Semitic or anything to just ask these questions and wonder why said thing is happening. It shouldn't. Because when I read this, I have to look at is who is trying to do what, right? So it says here that they're doing Christian outreach through various grassroots and digital targeting of Christians in Western United States. We will create a mobile museum to display at churches, Christian colleges, and Christian events. We will target. Listen to their wording here. Listen, this is their wording, not me. This is their wording. We will target and distribute pro-Israel information online through targeted geo-fencing and digital online tools. We will have teams of people reaching out to churches and pastors and possibly even Christian social media influencers. Some of this is still undecided and fluid, but these are the outlets we have planned and proposed. This is coming directly from what this company's mission is on behalf of our greatest ally. This is real. Describe fully the activities the registrant engages in or proposes to engage in on behalf of the above foreign principal. Well, they said that they will do Christian outreach through various grassroots and digital targeting of Christians in the Western United States. We will create, this is the same answer that they said above. Exact same thing. It's the exact same thing. So, number 10, will the activities on behalf of the above foreign principal include political activities as defined in Section 1? They check yes. If yes, describe such political activities indicating, among other things, the relations, interests, or policies being influenced together with the means to be employed to achieve this purpose. They responded with, they're going to be encouraging Christians to have a more favorable view of the nation of Israel and encourage Christians to visit Israel for tourism purposes. Wow. So, those that are wondering why this is so concerning, if you have China doing the exact same thing, people would be pissed. If Russia was doing the exact same thing, people would be pissed. If France was doing, if any of these other countries, specifically China and or Russia, were doing this exact same thing, and we saw a document like this, I guarantee more people would be apt to questioning it. But why is it that our own government is just so okay with a foreign nation coming to target Christians and encourage them to have a more favorable view of their nation versus our own? That, to me, is absolute bananery. I don't get it. It's buffoonery. It's straight buffoonery, because our government is just like, okay, well, they put it on paper, we have to allow it. Like, no, you can say no. Because if this was China, you guys would be willing to put this all over the freaking media and try to stop it. If it was China. If the left was still in office right now and this had came out and it was China or Ukraine, everybody would be complaining. Everybody would be complaining right now. Tell me right now, Joe Biden wasn't in office right now and a document to this exact same degree came up and it was from Ukraine, that the right wouldn't be going bananas on it. They would. But for some reason, when it becomes to our greatest ally, they don't even question it. And you guys are trying to tell people like me that it's a left versus right issue. At some point, you're going to realize it is two wings of the same bird. At some point, you're going to realize it is two wings of the same bird. And I don't care who it is that you like. If they're not Thomas Massey at this point, you're wrong. I don't care who it is you like. If it ain't Thomas Massey, you're wrong. It's that simple. It's that simple. If you want any hope for the United States of America, you need individuals like Thomas Massey, not these fucking loophole boomer ass these boomer old crusty people still trying to act like World War II is happening the same way. Like, come on now. That's the whole reason we got income tax to begin with, ladies and gentlemen. It's because of World War II. We had to fund the war somehow. Don't be mad at me. I'm just sharing you guys a little piece of your own history. So, if you're into politics or anything like that, and if it ain't Thomas Massey, you're wrong. It's that simple. Because I got the documents. I got the documents. You're not mad at me. You're mad at these documents right now, okay? You're not mad at me. You're mad at the documents. I didn't write this stuff. They did. And by they, I mean show faith by works And, of course, right here, the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. That's who they is. When I'm talking about they for this segment, ladies and gentlemen, our lost hope, our last hope. Yep, if he loses Kentucky, we know we've officially been infiltrated. That is so true. Our first comment of the show, ladies and gentlemen, and it's from the Queen Bee herself. But that's the truth. That is the truth. We have the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs working behind Show Faith by Works to infiltrate and target Christians. They use that word. We will target and distribute pro-Israel information. They said that, not me. Don't be mad at me when you're talking about, like, why are you coming for Israel or something. I'm not coming for them. They're coming for us. Specifically, that's what they said. You're not mad at me. That's what they said. They're coming for us. This ain't no conspiracy. This ain't no online conspiracy. This is true. They are coming for us. They said they will target. That's what they said. Don't be mad at me. They got a whole $325,000 deal for a media company. It's going to cost them $325,881 through their Havas Media Company. And they received that money on the 18th of September, 2025. $66,000 for their general payroll. 8 days after they took Charlie, or excuse me, 7 days after, right? It was the 11th when they took, what day did they take him, the 10th or the 11th? The 10th. Yeah, 8 days after the 10th. Somebody took him. I don't know who took him. Somebody took him out, and I don't think it was Tyler Robinson. But this just happened to come to fruition 8 days after somebody took out Charlie. Now, I'm not saying that it was these people. I'm just saying that this did come to fruition right after. And then, you see, here's the funny part. Look, you can look right here. Okay? These people already received the money. Right here. These people already received the money for their expenses on the 18th through the 26th. They did all of this work before they even registered as a foreign agent, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not making this up. They received and had all of this in the plan before they even registered as a foreign agent. It tells you right here at the top of the form. Look, right here, received by the registration unit at the 27th of September, 2025 at 3:29 in the morning. Well, the 18th happens to be, what? That's 9 days before. Well, something ain't adding up here. Something ain't adding up here, ladies and gentlemen. So you mean to tell me that these people already were able to approve of this money and start working behind this project before they even registered and the government knew about it? But that's not funny to anybody. That's not funny? Come on, somebody. You ain't mad at me. I'm just sharing you what's on their documents, and that's why we're diving in. Oh, don't worry. We're only on page 7. We got 80. I'm just kidding. We can scroll past a lot of these pages. Just a bunch of signatures and bull. What the hell? A bunch of bull crap that you don't need to see anyways. But they are all there. Let's see. Next page. Doom. Okay, check this out. Look at all that money. Look at all that big money. Look at all that money. Hey, check it out though. Their Greystone HR. They only got a $50,000 budget. The media company has a bigger budget than their fucking HR. But hey, they really gonna be working towards that media, aren't they? Again, this is all in the files. This is in the FARA files, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so on here, you guys can see specifically here what I'm going to bring up here. You guys can see who specifically is in what role and how much they're going to be working towards and how much they're going to be receiving as far as their compensation to put this into works. All right. And they have it, you know, all colorful and whatnot here for you guys to understand and break it down and all that. But, you know, it's a basic expense report here. But you guys can see there's a lot of money being put into this. And I mean a lot of money being put into this to try to infiltrate and target Christians here in the United States. So I encourage you guys to really dig through and see just how much they're doing. They're doing a whole package here to estimate it at 5,000 plus churches. 5,000 plus churches in the Western region. This is their plan. Okay? This is their plan. I'm not making this up. All right? And they break it down and you guys can see they need a Ford Pro Super Duty. It's going to cost them $69.99, $17,000 in taxes. They need some canopies, touchscreen TVs, Home Depot Duramax tools. They really building, huh? Look at this right here, okay? This part right here on page 23. On page 23 of the FARA files, they're going to be doing the largest geofencing and targeted Christian digital campaign ever. Geofence the actual boundaries of every major church in California, Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado, and all Christian colleges during worship times. They're going to track the attendees and continue to target with ads. That's what they're saying. Their follow-up targeting, that's their targeted thing. Their follow-up is going to be geofence their own events and other Christian events, continue target Christians with effective ads and call to action. Their social media advertising is going to be created and collated social media distribute through their social media channels and targeted to Christians. They have a 4-week website development timeline to create logos, themes, content, and website products. Wow. They're going to use their own internal security to prevent attacks, constant content uploads, and data housing on all call maintenance. Redirect all web traffic to friendly sites based on key terms. So they're going to redirect your own web traffic to friendly sites based on key terms. Ensure that the website is at the top of all search results and prioritize our information to key demographics. What the? What? This is real. This is real, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. And it's going to cost them $685,000 to do that. To target nearly 5,000 Christian churches in America. So, all right, the number of Christian megachurches. California has 209. The fact that they have all of these numbers and stuff like that is just appalling to me. It's appalling. Like, this is wild. 60% of them within major population centers: California, Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Tucson, Denver. Estimated number of churches and Christians that we think will agree to our programs and attend our events on a sign or pledge is about 5 to 10%. They're going to be spending all of that money and effort for a 5 to 10% margin to get them on their side. They're looking for people to pledge, to sign or pledge. Sign a pledge. What? So they're going to be looking for people to sign a pledge for you to go along with what they're... This is crazy. How are people not... What? What? They want you to... So let me get this straight. In the United States of America, they want Christians to sign a pledge for Israel? That's what I'm reading, right? That's what they said. They're looking for 5 to 10% of Christians in America to sign a pledge for Israel. How is that not a national security issue? I'm waiting for anybody to jump in. See, this is why the live isn't going to get popped, because I'm putting out real facts right now. This is wild. So again, ladies and gentlemen, is it okay? Is it okay for our greatest ally to be targeting Christians in the West to try to yield a 5 to 10% result of pledges to their country? Is that okay? That's what I want to know, because that's what they're saying. It's not okay at all, is what I say. I don't care if you're Christian, Buddhist, monks, if you're Hindu. I don't care if you're Jew, Christian, if you're agnostic. I don't care if you are an American and a foreign country is trying to infiltrate anybody's faith and turn them against your own country for their own, we got a problem. Period. I don't care what faith you have, or if you don't have a faith, we got a national security problem. That should alarm every single person, because 5 to 10% of people in the Western region is not a small amount of people. That is not a small amount of people. You see these numbers? The high estimate is what? Does that say 23 million? What does that say? The numbers are they're too damn big. I don't know what they ain't got the commas and stuff. 3,899,925 targeted Christians in that specific area. Again, they use the word target. Targeted Christian population. They use those terms, not me. You mad at me for showing you the truth. Oh, wow. The number of evangelical non-megachurch, they got it all broken down. Wow. Average weekly attendance of smaller churches, 75 across the board. Total church population. This is scary, you guys. The fact that they already have these. See, this is the problem I have with this, you guys, is the fact that they already have these numbers prior to them initiating their little geo-fence operation and being signed off by the FARA registration and DOJ. This is what you guys need to understand. These things, these numbers, were already typed up, and they've already done this in order to get this registered. You guys have to understand this. This was done prior to them registering. What the heck happened? Oh, they sent a signal through. Mic check. They did. It's super delayed. Like, it's all, no. Oh, I know that. I'm just going to roll with it because this is all Frenched up. Wait, no. This this is. Mm-mm. I just hit it again. Is it working? What the heck was that? That's crazy. Yo, did it go back to the same live? Wow. Okay, that's crazy. All right, I guess we just gonna go right back to it, y'all. That's wild. That's freaking wild. Just move on. That's crazy. All right. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, so what we was looking at is the FARA registration and what they're targeting us with. So get into it. Let's go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, check a look here on this blank page. As you can see, there ain't nothing on the screen there. It's just blank. Number of Christian megachurches. They got 303 total between California, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. All right. 303 mega churches between 4 states. The fact that they know this information prior to actually registering with FARA is concerning to me. I have been trying to articulate that to you guys, and I need you guys to understand that. This was done well in advance before the 27th of September. Okay? You guys got to understand that. 8 days after Charlie Kirk was taken from us, this was already in the works. And then they filed on the 27th at 3:29 in the morning. Almost like they were in a hurry and had to file it before somebody said something, is what it sounds like to me. I'm just speculating there. Allegedly, that's what they did. I don't know. Allegedly. It's just weird. Okay, it's weird. Church goers estimate number of Christian colleges, estimated campus. Listen, y'all, who in their right mind is okay with another country having this amount of data on your kids in their college? Why would you be okay with another country having this data on your kids in college or you at church? Again, if this was China, you guys would be pissed. If this was Russia or Ukraine, you guys would be pissed. Well, there is a list of every single church that they are going to hit. Every single one and its size. And like I said the last time, I think that this means the size here. I think that means about how many active members make up their congregation. Again, they've already discussed what mega churches they're doing. This is right out of the files, you guys. Right out of the files. So in Arizona alone, they have all of these churches in Arizona that are going to be getting hit. Every single one of them are going to be targeted. This is what they are saying. They already have the numbers. They are targeting all of those churches right there in Arizona. So if you live in Arizona and you belong to any of these churches, I would recommend you start talking to your church leaders and figuring out exactly what the heck is going on. Because you will, in fact, be targeted as a Christian with pro-Israel propaganda. Excuse me, they say material. Pro-Israel materials. This is very concerning, America. Please, if you're just tuning in, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button. We are talking about Show Faith by Works and how they are working as an American company on behalf of our greatest ally to target Christians in America. This is real. I've downloaded the FARA files, and we are going through all 86 pages right now. because there is some shocking information. So if you are in Arizona, here is a small little taste of what's to come or is currently in the works. Okay? Now, if you live in Colorado, or excuse me, California has Calvary Bible Fellowship. It looks like there's one in California right now on this sheet. Colorado, let's see. This is all of the Colorado stuff. Let's go down. Colorado has a lot too. And Colorado. So if you're in Colorado, at any of these churches, starting with the Calvary Worship Center in Colorado Springs, if you belong there, working our way down to the Timberline Church in Fort Collins, if you are anywhere in between, you will be targeted by pro-Israel materials. Being very, very careful how I'm wording this now. If you belong to any of these churches, you will indeed be targeted with pro-Israel materials. And this is verbatim what they put in their filing. Nevada. Nevada, you were also on here. Let's go Nevada. Victory Missionary Baptist Church in Nevada. Las Vegas, Nevada at that. All the way down. Let's go right here. I guess there's not that many churches in Nevada. I wonder why. What's going on in Nevada? There we go. There's a handful of churches there in Nevada. Victory Missionary Baptist Church down to, I guess, Reno. Yeah, Reno. What's that say? Living Stones Church here in Reno. That's, again, real, ladies and gentlemen. I don't understand how this damn PDF thing works. I keep clicking on all the wrong things. It is so terrible. As you guys can see, I'm working through it. But Texas, let's get to Texas. All right. Everything's bigger in Texas. Let's go down. Texas, Texas. Lord have mercy. Oh, my goodness. The largest state in the oh, my goodness. Oh, my good. What the? It keeps going. It keeps going. Oh, my goodness. Ladies and gentlemen, are you seeing this? Are you guys seeing this right? Look at this. Wow. I just highlighted every single church in Texas that is going to be targeted by pro-Israel propaganda, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not going to count them. It's too many. Look at this. That's Texas alone. That's all Texas. If you are a Christian in Texas, get out. Run. Run. No, don't run. Fight back. You have to fight back. This is crazy. This is insane, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know how else to see this other than this is absolutely insane. Please share this live and share this with people, because I believe that these people are under they're under attack, and this concerns me because they're already using geo-fencing with the technology and stuff prior to them registering like they were supposed to. So this was already in the works. And now that it's in the works officially and being done by Show Faith by Works, now that it's being done by these companies and we have the files, there's no turning back. The only thing that we can do is fight back. So again, here are the files. We're going through them. 86. This is pure bananery, you guys. All right, Utah, a couple churches in Utah. Washington Heights Baptist Church, South Mountain Community Church in Utah. Wyoming, Highland Park Community Church in Wyoming. That's in the city of Casper, Wyoming. Now we get to California, Mountain View California Abundant Life Christian Fellowship. All right, and we start working our way down California the same way. It looks similar to Texas as well. We start working our way down the list here. California. Yeah, it's pretty dang big. California and Texas seem to be the two largest, and of course they are the largest, some of the largest states in the union, right? So they have the most, especially they have the most people. So there we go. Let's get back to our little square here. Oh, what did I do? Messed it all up. Either way, as you guys can see here, all of these are in California. So if you're in California and you're a Christian, you're being targeted. You're on the hit list. You're on the targeted Christian list. That is a real list. Don't be mad at me for saying it that way. Oh, wait, look. They have all the non-denominational ones as well. Or they have them broken down by denomination. Of course they do. Of course. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? They have all the other information on us in the church. Why wouldn't they have that information? They know exactly what denomination of Christian you are. They're not playing with this. Look at this, you guys. Wow. All right. So their specific media company that they're using is called Havas Media. You guys seen this here? Vendor is Show Faith by Works. This is their address. You guys can see Chad Slitchkin, whatever his name is. Hey, look, there's his phone number. Why don't you guys give that dude a call? Hey, America, here's his phone number and email. Give that dude a call right now and be like, yo, what are y'all doing? We should do that. That's what we should do on a live. We should call him and see if he answers. And just be like, I want to ask some questions, man. Are you in America first? Or what's going on? I just want to ask some questions. We should do that. Not tonight, though, because I don't feel like doing it tonight. But we should do that on a live. We should call Chad. Hey, Chad. Hey, Chad, I got a question. Yeah, I'm going to call that dude. I'm going to call Chad. I'm going to call Chad from Havas Media. I'm going to do it live, too. No, I don't want to do it right now because I don't have the other phone. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to call. You know what I'm saying? I got to do it from like a burner phone or some shit so they don't blow my phone up through a signal or something like that. Like, I want to make sure that I don't get blown up. Okay, you guys, here we go. Let's get into what you guys have been waiting for. This is their campaign. A Christian education and Israel information campaign. So what does that mean when I say that? What does that mean? That means this is a proactive re-education of Christians that is coming to America, or excuse me, that is already in the works here in the United States of America. That is indeed what is happening. You can be mad at me all you want for pointing this out. You can call me all of the isms and whatnot for looking this stuff up. I do not care. Because the reality is, on the 27th of September at 3:29 in the morning, Show Faith by Works actually registered and put this into play like they were supposed to. But the funny thing is they were already doing this stuff 8 days after Charlie Kirk was taken from us. 8 days after Charlie Kirk was taken from us, and of course, before they actually filed their official registration. That is true. This is the company Show Faith by Works. This is their LLC. Again, this is all in the files that you guys can download from the United States Department of Justice. Okay? So I'm not showing you guys anything that is not classified or illegal. This is just being done, and our government is allowing it. This is being done in our country, and they're not taking this as a national security issue. That is the truth. So, what is the activity? They're going to combat, listen to their wording again. They're using targeting wording. They're going to combat, listen to that. They're going to combat low American evangelical Christian approval of the nation of Israel. What? They're going to use biblical arguments to highlight the importance of Israel and the Jewish people to Christians, educate Christians on the historical importance of Israel and its significance in the region. They're going to increase awareness of Palestinian ties to Hamas. You see this propaganda that they're going to use on us? They're telling us what they're going to do. So when they do these things, Texas, California, Nevada, when they do these things, you guys know what to look for. When they are using these tools against you, you know what to look for because it's right here in the files. You can look through their book and be like, oh, yeah? Well, guess what? You guys already said that this is what some bullshit you're going to do. And then you can pull out the Gospels and set them straight. They're going to counter new and evangeling pro-Palestine message. What does that even mean? Counter new and, evolving. That's an evangeling. Okay, no. Counter new and evolving pro-Palestinian messages and the global narrative shifts. This is what their truck looks like, apparently. So look at that right there. That's a little image of what their little geo-fencing thing looks like when it comes to like the churches and stuff like that. I'm going to zoom in some more so you guys can see that. Yeah, look at that right there. Look at that. Your little grid, your little neighborhood, and then boom, they got you. You enter near to that church or in that street, you're doomed. You're doomed. They got you. What are their goals, ladies and gentlemen? What are their goals? To use a combination of personal and professional outreach to Christian community. They're going to combine that with digital targeting and social media outreach to increase positive associations with the nation of Israel, while linking the Palestinian population with extremist factions. Listen to what they're doing. They're focused on re-educating Christians, and they are going to use a combination of personal and professional outreach combined with digital targeting and social media outreach to increase positive associations with the nation of Israel, while they're going to work to link the Palestinian population with extremist factions. They're trying to show you the entire population is extremist. Do you see that? That is what they are trying to articulate to you. They are trying to re-educate to Christians that the Palestinian population are linked with extremists. Their wording is very vague there for a reason. So when Donald Trump uses terminology like we're going to wipe out entire populations and stuff like that, they're telling you specifically what they're trying to do. They're trying to link the Palestinian population with extremist factions. Because as a Christian and as Americans, we know that not every single person that is born in that country is an extremist or is bad. We cannot default to blood guilt. We cannot default to blaming the entire population as extremists. That is dangerous. That's extremely dangerous. But that is what they are working towards to re-educate Christians here in the United States of America. So you have a duty, especially as men, to speak up and step up when it comes to this. You have a duty. They're telling you right here. This is in the files. It's right here. You ain't mad at me. Look at this. I'm sorry. This gets me fired up. I don't know how you guys can't be fired up when it comes to this. Oh, look at this. educational messages about the history of Jews in the region and the creation of the state of Israel in 1940. This is from them. The creation of the state of Israel in when? 1948. This is coming from them. So all this right here is proof to all you people out there that have been shaming me and talking all this stuff is in the Bible. Israel is supposed to be supported since before, blah, 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 blah. No, this is show faith by works and the Israel ministry of, ooh, they are telling you when they were created. When was that, ladies and gentlemen? When was that? 2,000 years ago? No, 1948. When? 1948. How long ago? 1948. When was the creation of the state of Israel? 1948. Well, that's interesting because I thought in the Bible it said, oh, no, man, because real Christians know. Real Christians know the truth. So don't sit there. Ooh. I'm a little fired up because all you people out there that wanted to call me an ist and ism, I'm not a conservative, I'm not MAGA because I don't want to support these people. Nah. This is coming from them directly. This is their words, not mine. I gave you the file. Look, it's in the files. This is their messaging, not Tripp's messaging. Hold up, if I get this camera messed up again. This is in their messaging, y'all. They're going to send messages to the pastors and Christians about Israel. They're going to use his history and his people with biblical significance in the place in Christian New Testament and more. But the line that stuck out to me the most, is right here. Educational messages about the history of the Jews in the region before the creation of the state of Israel in 1948. They are telling you. This is their words. And you want me to look like I'm the bad guy here for calling them out on their own juju? Oh, that's probably anti-Semitic, isn't it, for saying juju, isn't it? I didn't even think about that. You know, bad juju. Oh, my goodness. That's not what I meant. This is their own wording. You ain't mad at me. Y'all need to get into the files is what you need to get into. That's what you need to do. Get into the files. See for yourself. That's all. That's all you got to do. They're going to put the anti-Palestinian, look at this, anti-Palestinian messaging. Hamas is a Palestinian terrorist organization. This is the messaging that they are using, is. These are certainties. Hamas is. This is what they're, ladies and gentlemen, they're going to be focused on the October 7th experience because they're going to educate Christians that Palestinians shelter terrorists. Look at their wording. They're going to educate Christians that Palestinians shelter terrorists, built the tunnels for Hamas, they hide weapons in their schools and hospitals, and join in on the attacks on October the 7th. Palestinians refuse to recognize the right of Israel to exist as a Jewish state. This is the things that they are right. Is that you? Are you the two accounts that's watching? Is that why it goes in and out? Is that you? Is that both of you? You're one of them. Okay. Well, this is it. Wait a minute. These are their themes. And it does go to positive messaging about the traditional friendship between American Christians and the Jewish homeland. Israel's participation with the U.S. in the war on terror. Jewish Americans participated in the U.S. armed services. That's how. Wait a minute. That's how they're saying they participated in America, in helping America, by allowing Jewish Americans to participate in the armed services. So you're telling me that Americans serving in the armed services for America, but because they happen to be Jewish, that's how Israel has participated? I'm not buying it. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what they said. This is not coming from me. This is what Israel is saying. Do you see how full of baloney they are? They're going to use positive messaging about the traditional friendship between American Christians and the Jewish homeland. Show Faith by Works is saying that on behalf of the Israel Ministry of whatever, Foreign Affairs. On behalf of the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. We can't leave that part out. This is approved by the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And they are using Show Faith by Works, an American company, to do this. Israel's participation with the U.S.'s war on terror comes down to Jewish Americans participating in the armed services. That is baloney. That is absolute baloney. Because what they're trying to articulate there is that, like, they sent a bunch of Jewish people over to America to become citizens and then serve in the war. But that's not the case. These are regular American people who happen to be Jewish that decided to serve because they thought we were under attack from Saddam or bin Laden. I want to know the numbers. How many Jewish Americans served in the armed forces in the war on terror? 0.4 to 0.5%. What do those numbers even look like? Because it's a very, very small amount when we're thinking about how many participated in the U.S. armed services. 0.4? You talking like 0.4? 0.4 to 0.5% Jewish Americans participated in the U.S. armed services, and they are going to use that as a theme. Show Faith by Works is going to use that as a theme to articulate to our pastors of the importance of Israel's participation with the U.S. This is absolute bananery. Wow. I'm going to pull this up so you guys can see it here in just a second, because this is absolute buffoonery. I can't believe what I'm seeing here. This is absolute buffoonery. This is wild. And the fact that our government is just like, yep, this is the way it is. Things will never be the same. Oh, yeah. I better stop singing before I get a infringement or something. They'll hit me with a copyright note or something like that. No singing allowed. They're going to say, who sings that song? Who? Keep it that way. That's what they're going to tell me. They're going to give me a little pop-up. Keep it that way. Keep it that way. Keep it that way. That's what they're going to say. This is crazy. We didn't even get into the chips or nothing like that, but this is getting out of hand, y'all. This is getting out of hand because the reason I want to bring this stuff up to you guys and why it's so important is because there are actual things that are taking place in front of us when it comes to our faith. And I don't like it. You shouldn't like it either. And we do have an ability and options to say no. We're allowed to say no. You're allowed to say no. You are allowed to say no. You don't have to just go along with anything that's going on. You don't. You're allowed to step up and be like, this is not right. Even based on what's biblically written or in the Gospels, you can say no. And I encourage people to ask their congregation, especially if you're in one of those states that I pulled up here for you guys. I encourage you guys to ask your congregation and your church leaders, like, yo, what are we doing? What are we doing? How come this is happening in our church, in our town? And what are we going to do about it? Because 0.4 to 0.5 Jewish Americans served in the armed forces, but they're looking for a 5 to 10% to join in their targeted propaganda campaign that they have right now. That's what they said, not me. They're looking to get more Christians on their side than the amount of Jews that served the entire war on terror. But they're going to use that as a theme. That's the facts. That's what they said, not me. We caught them in their own shit. Excuse me. We caught them in their own doo. Their own doo-doo. Their own doo-joo? Jew-doo? Jew-doo. Their own Jew-doo. Their own Jew-doo. They got Jew-doo. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, the facts are the facts. Don't be mad at me because they said this. They said it, not me. They said that, not me. Look, we got the screenshot. I'm going to pull up the screenshot for you so you know I'm not playing. Look. What's that say right there? What does that say right there? Oh, Lord have mercy. Jewish personnel make up a small minority of the United States military, generally estimated at roughly 0.4 to 5% of active duty service, while Jewish Americans represent about 2% of the total U.S. population, they are underrepresented in the military compared to their share of the population. Wow, this does not look good for them. They wanted to use those numbers. And these are the numbers. Ladies and gentlemen, these are the numbers that they're trying to use. These are the numbers. This is what they're trying to say. Wow. Estimates of Jewish personnel on active duty often fall between 8,000 to 15,000. They're looking in the millions, y'all. What? That's crazy. During World War II, of course, higher numbers of Jews were serving, estimated at 4.23% of all U.S. soldiers. Even in their own Holocaust, they only 4% of them only. That's crazy. And they want us to go over here and fight their fucking fights. Nah, I'm done. That is that Judo bullshit. Listen, y'all can be mad at me for saying that all you want to. The truth is right there. The criticism is real. We're under attack and they're trying to infiltrate the church. They said that, not me. They said that. I'm just going through their files. I'm pulling up their files. Their theme, okay? Their theme, the theme that they said, not me. This isn't my theme. I didn't come up with this. They put all this effort into it. I didn't come up with this. I'm just reading it. They came up with this stuff in their files. And they didn't think none of us was smart enough to go to know where to go digging to find it. That's what they thought. They thought we weren't smart enough to know how to go digging and finding stuff like this. That's what they thought. And I find it awfully suspicious that they were working on this 8 days after Charlie was taken from us. I find that awfully suspicious. As a matter of fact, if you don't find it suspicious, I find you suspicious. This is insane. So they had such a small amount of people, but they're going to use that as one of their themes. You see that right there where it says themes? That's one of their themes, not mine. Oh, wait, y'all can't see it because I ain't bring it up. You still looking at me. Look at that right there. That's one of their themes. That's one of their themes, not mine. I'm not the guy that's over here making this stuff up or making these slides. I'm just the one that's showing you their slides that were officially registered in the United States Department of Justice FARA Registration Unit on September the 27th at 3:29 a.m. That's all I'm trying to show you. That's all. That's all I'm trying to show you. Just a little bit of the truth. Is that okay? Can I share a little bit of truth? Is that okay? Am I allowed to? Are we allowed to share truth anymore? That's what I really want to know. Grassroots organizing. They're going to hire Christian staff in high density areas, Arizona, Nevada, California, and Denver, Colorado. So if you're a Christian looking for a job to get some intel, you're going to get paid to get some intel and report it back to me, Baron, and Candace. Do so. If you live in Arizona, Nevada, California, or Denver, Colorado, and you want to get paid as a Christian staffer, and then you want to secretly hand us some intel, go ahead and do so. We won't rat you out. I'm just saying you can get paid. You can get paid to do this. They're going to hire Christian staff in high density areas. So if you're in a high density Arizona, Nevada, California, or Denver area, go and get your paycheck and then do right by it. That's all I'm saying. Go on, get your check and then do right by it. Go on to their little meeting and then tell us everything they're saying. They're going to re-educate our pastors, ladies and gentlemen. So I want you to think about this the way I'm thinking about this. And then I'm going to go ahead and start wrapping it up. But they're going to be working towards re-educating our pastors. Re-educating our pastors in the United States of America. They are. I'm not re-educating them. Show Faith by Works is going to be trying to re-educate them. And they're going to be trying to re-educate them on behalf of the Israel Institute of Foreign, whatever the fuck it is said. Woo, snap. So you're not safe in the church. You're not safe if you go to college. Specifically, if you go to a Christian college, you ain't safe. They're going to have a Ask Me Questions booth, and they're going to be having a presence on pro-Israel, and then they have their little pledges there. They're going to have their little pledges to see if you can pledge to connect and support what they're doing. All right, they're going to have these materials available at different Christian colleges. Whoo! If you're on social media, you already know what they're going to be doing. The 12 Christian influencers to follow. They already got their little thing started. They have a Christian podcast hosted by prominent Christian leaders. They're going to sponsor specific messaging and pro-Israel podcast over several Christian podcasts. Weekly series updating Christian on pro-Israeli talking points and responding to current events. Weekly series updating Christians on pro-Israeli talking points. Wow. Wow. Digital support, huh? The largest geo-fencing and Christian targeting campaign in U.S. history. Geo-fence and digitally targeting Christians who attend any U.S. megachurch in our target market areas and beyond. They're going to use digital tools to identify and show pro-Israel, anti-Palestinian messaging to U.S. Christians and Catholics in English and in Spanish. Again, this is Show Faith by Works. They're going to use digital targeting to redirect Christians to websites where pro-Israeli media can be found and forwarded. So they're going to redirect you on your own searches, and the website will compile pro-Israel pastoral resources, social media posts, and earned and bought media. Jesus. Now, let's talk about the mobile October 7th experience. What does that even mean? The mobile 10/7 experience. This is a mobile setup that visits different Christian colleges, churches, and Christian events. They got a giant, look at that giant trailer. They got a whole tractor trailer for this. They're going to highlight some of the atrocities from 10/7. They're going to show footage of the IDF explaining the difficulty of fighting bad guys in hostile territory with civilians. This is in their FARA documentation. They're going to say, bad guys, get out of here. Hey, look at this. I was correct, too. Look. They're going to give you a VR headset, set prices, full-length TVs for interactive experience. Why would you want a VR 10/7 massacre experience? Who does that? Who does that? You want the full chaos experience? Put on this VR. Who in their right mind thinks that that's a good idea? Put on this VR headset so you can relive a massacre. What kind of... The traveling team will attend, table, and potentially offer to bring the 10/7 experience to major Christian church events like the Harvest Festival in Anaheim or the annual Southern Baptist Convention meetings nationwide and statewide. G3 Conference, International Christian Media Conference. They even have a whole Christmas message plan, ladies and gentlemen. So when we come time to Christmas, we're going to be seeing these kind of things pop out. December for the Christian church is entirely about Christmas. Suggested targeted messages changes for the digital megachurches in December. Israel protects Christians like no other nation in the Middle East. Israel's the birthplace to Jesus. Come see Bethlehem for yourself. Wow. They're going to try to dangle that over you as a Christian. They're going to try to dangle that over you as a Christian like you need to do this. Come give us your shekels and come to Israel and kiss our wall. Come on. Come do it. Wow. Well, here is a $325,000 invoice from Show Faith by Works, LLC, to Havas Media. Frankfurt, Germany. What does Germany have to do with this? $325,896. And future invoices, same value is estimated. Those are the dates of each invoice. All of this was done already prior to 2026, y'all. Show Faith by Works detailed budget sheet and planning, huh? Look at that. If you're on the Western Hemisphere of the United States of America, you need to be looking out for this. From Southern California, they're going to generate, distribute, and manage relationships throughout the California, Arizona, Nevada, and greater Denver, Colorado areas. I wonder why Denver in particular is picked like that. And not just the rest of Colorado, just Denver. Most populated city, right? That's what it is. It's got to be the most populated city. They're going for the bigums. They're going to hire regional teams to make contact with local churches and schedule informational events and activities. Digital Christian outreach can be redirected. Additional markets will overlap with grassroots activities. California has 40 million residents and roughly 18 million estimated church-going Christians. Arizona's second largest region, Phoenix and Tucson south, and Flagstaff north. Nevada, Las Vegas, and surrounding cities in the south, some Reno in the north, and Denver, Boulder, Colorado, Springs, Colorado area. Ladies and gentlemen, if you live in any of those areas, I really challenge you to be on the lookout for this, because it does not look like the United States government cares that this is happening. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but this is happening. What's Tim Tebow got to do? Oh, man, he's doomed. I like the Tebow Foundation, too. Now I don't like him no more. No wonder. Right. They're going to pitch him. Listen. If Tim Tebow is a part of this, I really have to question his foundation. Matter of fact, I might start looking into his foundation next. It does say, it just for you guys that are watching or will watch this later, it does say possible. Okay? It does say possible. But if he becomes compromised by this influence in this, I can't mess with him no more. I can't. Because if he starts pushing this message and he's working with the human kids and trafficking thing, I can't mess with it. It's just too close. It's just too close for me to ignore it. Specifically Tim Tebow. The only reason I say that is because he has a newer foundation working with the ICAC and human trafficking of minors and stuff like that. So anything that's tied to our greatest ally in that, I'm going to question. I hope he says no. I really do. All right, back to the 10-7 experience. Look at this. They got VR headsets, camping out. Like, what? Custom build trailer by professional Hollywood sets, reversible exterior walls to allow a 6x29 experience by walking to the side of the trailer. Opposite side has a slide-out stage flooring to invite attendees to come in the trailer from the side. Mounted survive to tell what does that mean? A mounted survive to tell VR experience interiorly with seating. Mounted survive to tell VR. What the heck does that mean? What? What does that even mean? I'm going to research that. That's crazy. I want to know what that says. Says here, the search for result do not contain information about a specific VR experience titled Mounted Survive to Tell. It's likely that it's either misspelled, da 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 da. Well, no, it's not. That's directly out of the files. That's directly, I didn't misspell it or nothing. That's on a Brave search too. Okay, let's do 10/7 experience. Let's see if that comes up with anything. Nope. What the? Let's just try this, the 10/7 experience. And let's see what comes up with there. With seating. All right, here we go. Here we go. The 10/7 experience is an interior seated VR attraction designed for mounted physical setups, such as the Roto VR chair or similar motion platforms. This experience allows the users to survive a dramatic scenario involving a car crash and explosion while remaining securely seated. Who in their right mind would want to experience the 10/7 experience? That sounds sick. Or am I tripping? Is that not sick? The seated format, the attraction is specifically designed for seated only play, making it suitable for locations with limited space for users and mobility constraints. Mounted hardware, the narrative. The story includes surviving a catastrophic event, utilizing the seated perspective to enhance the intensity of the crash without requiring physical locomotion. The 10/7 experience. I don't know about you guys, but that to me sounds gross. That sounds gross. Who would want to relive the 10/7 experience? So the 10/7 sections, they're going to have information sections with pro-Israel material, scenes from the Nova Festival, and recognizable 10/7 sites. Wow. So they're going to put you through a VR experience of reliving all of that chaos. They want you to relive that chaos and experience for them so you can have pro support for them. That's what they're telling you. This is what they're telling you. Do you guys understand what's happening out there? This is what they're telling you they're doing. Call to actions outside the exhibit using biblical messaging, wrapped with images of Israel or the Western Wall. The interior wall length mounted TV with updated information with pro-Israel media. This is coming to a church near you, ladies and gentlemen, whether you wanted to or not. This is coming to a church near you. So be prepared. If you're on a college campus, you need to be prepared. If you see a Show Faith by Works booth, either get the information and ask really hard questions or get out of Dodge. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to tell you where to go, but I would aim towards not attending any events like this. I would. I would work towards not attending any of these events, Social Harvest or anything like that, only because it's just too risky. And And if our own government isn't even willing to tell us that this is going on, if our own government is not willing to tell us that this is going on in the United States, and individuals like me have to look into it, I think we have a serious issue, ladies and gentlemen. I really do. I'm not trying to pick on them. I'm just going through what they put. And it concerns me, and it should concern you too. They got a whole package that they're going to be doing and delivering to our pastors. Comes with a little training materials, instructions, little video. This is all, look, they got lessons for young youth church pastors, youth pastors, messages to women by women, Catholic and Hispanic church messaging, Spanish, Vietnamese, Russian translations. Video introductions to play during morning announcements. History lessons for Israel, on Israel for different. This is insane. This is one of the most concerning things that I've ever seen that our own government isn't telling us. All right, talk to you guys about their podcast activities, the digital backup. Okay, so they're going to develop websites and maintain through a 1-year period, even if the bulk of the grassroots activities are completed within 4 to 6 months. Will geofence the same targeted churches running digital ads that are pro-Israel and anti-Palestinian? They're going to geofence attendees of their events and follow up with social media advertising. They're going to identify social media influencers to hire in exchange for favorable coverage. We've already seen that in the works. We've been seeing that. So all them people that are saying that that's not true, they're not doing that. This is them telling you in their documents that this is what they're doing. This is exactly what they're doing. Targeted geofencing strategy. Look at that. Church targeting, the largest Christian church geofencing campaign in United States history. It will be used to distribute and target messaging and encourage Christians and pastors to reach out and follow all their channels. The college campus focus is to target Christian churches on Sundays and Christian colleges on weekdays with targeted ads for those who enter the regions. The ads will contain to track those who enter the target zones. They're going to use precision engagement. Precision location-based targeting ensures only our target market sees the ads, maximizing the effectiveness of their outreach. The geofencing campaign would create a digital perimeter around key Christian gathering places, delivering targeted pro-Israel content and sympathetic anti-Hamas messaging to engaged audiences. $8.4 million. Wow. There are 5 additional options if there was an additional budget that we could ask for. And they want to expanded digital reach to additional states. The campaign has already prepared the digital files, and we could use the same targeting to churches in other media markets. The best region to target would be Texas, which has a large number of megachurches like California. A second mobile 10/7 experience, if our activities go well, we could see a need to build a second mobile trailer and get another towing vehicle with some additional staffing. The pastoral resources package to 3 additional states. The biggest would be Texas again, but the pastoral resource packages range from $20 to $30 each to print and additional cost to ship. There's a huge number of evangelical churches in Texas, Utah, and Wyoming that we are not targeting, but who might be open to our resources and educational materials. I did not want to be too aggressive with the budget, but if there was a way to get these resources, we would absolutely put them to use to build an even better program. That, ladies and gentlemen, is all 86 documents of the Show Faith by Works FARA registration on what they are actively working on in the United States of America. So again, this is Show Faith by Works, and they are doing a Christian educational and Israel information campaign. And one of the things that is most stand out about this is, yes, this is an American company. Show Faith by Works LLC is an American company. Okay? This is an American company. They have a Havas media company attached to them that does their media. Okay? Show Faith by Works and Havas Media. They're partnering together to do this. And while they're doing all of that work that we just discussed, all of that work that we just read through, all 86 pages, that is on behalf, again, this is not me making this up, that is on behalf of right here, the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. All of that. Every single thing that we just went through, that entire campaign is done on the behalf of Israel, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Again, you guys can find these documents. You can go to FARA.gov. Here's the registration number, 7653. You type in that registration number, and you're going to be able to find these documents by Show Faith by Works. It's 86 pages long. Download the documents and go through them yourself and start sharing this with people who are in those states, because they are being subject to pro-Israel propaganda, anti-Palestinian propaganda, and none of it is America first. None of it. All of it is on behalf of the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And that should concern every single American, regardless of faith or not. Another nation, another country, is using an American company to push and re-educate Christians, specifically Christian leaders, churches, and college campuses, to re-educate them. And they are looking for a 5 to 10% yield on this. They're looking for greater numbers than all of the Jewish Americans that have ever served in the armed forces. We ran the numbers. They are looking to yield more Christians on this project than all of the Jewish Americans that served in the United States Armed Services. And the funny thing is in their own documents that they're using that as a theme for them to highlight, like they've been doing so much good for the United States. That's the theme that they chose to use. Because everybody asks, if they're such our greatest ally, how? What have they helped us with? And nobody can ever give us anything. So I found what they are saying that they have done for us. And it ain't nothing. So, ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you guys to download the documents. Again, you can find them right here, FARA.gov. Type in that registration number, FARA registration. and get to digging in the garden. I can do it just as well as you guys can do it. But I think it's very important that if you start digging in your garden, you understand that you're going to pull weeds. You're not going to just be digging holes in the garden for no reason. You're pulling these weeds out. And these weeds happen to be coming from the Israel Ministry of Foreign Affairs, as you guys can see. This again was registered finally on the 27th of September 2025 at 3:29 in the morning. Just so you guys are aware. Do with that what you will. I'm not going to tell you guys what you have to do in order to move forward, but we did go through a long list of individual states, cities, churches that are going to be targeted and have been targeted since this took place. They have up to a year to complete this project. It expires on the 31st of October 2026, so they have up to a year to complete this project. They may get it done in a few months, they don't know. They're saying if they get it done early, within a few months, they want to request additional funds to do a second experience in other states. That is what they say on the very last page, page 86. So just so you guys are aware, they have up to 1 year. They could get it done in a few months. And they want more money to do it again. Make up your minds. Do what you would. I love you guys. My name is Anthony Triplett. This is all in a day's work. We didn't even get into all the other topics tonight, but we'll get into that later. This is the FARA Files. Goodbye, everybody. Good night. See you soon.